Okay, people. So, the idea of you, right? It's a new Prime Video film, Amazon MGM, all of that jazz, you know. It is directed by Michael Showalter, who co-wrote it with Jennifer Westfeldt. The film is produced by Jeff Marone, Kathy Schulman, Gabriel Union, Eric Hayes, Anne Hathaway, Michael Showalter, and Robinne Lee. It is executive produced by Jason Babelowski, Kiana Gass, Douglas Jones, and Jennifer Westfeldt. The music is handled by Siddhartha Khosla, Jim Froner took care of cinematography, Peter Teschner edits the piece. Casting was Bernard Tilsey and Tiffany Little Canfield. Amy Williams, production design. Kat Rich, art direction. Set decoration is Melissa Josufi, with Jacqueline Demeterio on costume design. Hair, makeup, all of that jazz, right? We got Antoinette Black, Tara D. Day, Nana Fisher, AJ Horan, Lindsay McAllister, Diamond McCall, Shanika Murray, Haley Porsche, and Jordan Rosenstein. So the cast, well. We have got Anne Hathaway as Solène, right? Ella Rubin plays her daughter, Izzy. We've got a friend and work colleague of Solène, Tracy, played by Annie Mamalu, right? Solène's ex-husband, Daniel, is played by Reed Scott. His new girlfriend, Eva, is played by Perry Matfield, right? We've got friends of Izzy, her best friends. So there's Georgia, played by Matilda Giannopoulos, right? We've got Zeke, played by Jordan Aaron Hall. And then there's Claire, played by Meg Middleditch. Right. Then there's Hayes. Right. There is Hayes, who is played by Nicholas Galitzine. Right. You've then got Jeremy, played by Chish Manohar. Oliver, played by Raymond Cham Jr. Adrian, played by Jaden Anthony. Simon, played by Victor White. And Rory, played by Dakota Aiden. And their August Moon, the boy band. Right? You've got Jodie, played by Roxy Rivera. Graham Norton makes an appearance. There's Nancy, played by Grace Jute. Lawrence, played by John Levine. I think that's probably the main lot of people, really. Charlotte, played by Chandler Lavelle. Amber, played by Nina Bloomgarden. Priya, played by Hedy Nazir. Yeah, I think that's probably our main, a lot of people. So the gist of the story is this: Solène, a 40-year-old single mum, begins an unexpected romance with 24-year-old Hayes Campbell, the lead singer of August Moon, the hottest boy band on the planet. When Solène must step in to chaperone her teenage daughter's trip to Coachella Music Festival after her ex bails at the last minute, she has a chance encounter with Hayes, and there is an instant, undeniable spark as they begin a whirlwind romance. It isn't long before Hayes' superstar status poses unavoidable challenges to their relationship. And Solène soon discovers that life in the glare of his spotlight might be more than she bargained for. Dum dum dum. So, right, this film is actually based on the book of the same name from Robinne Lee, right? One of the producers of the film. She published this book in 2017, right? Yeah, you know what? I I watched this film essentially because I saw Anne Hathaway was in it, and I was thinking, what was the last Anne Hathaway film I watched? Right? I couldn't quite remember. I couldn't quite remember what I thought of her. You know what I mean? Acting wise and all of that. I'm thinking, I feel she's a good actress, but I cannot remember. So I figured I would give it a go. Oh, I have to say, if I knew what this film was about, I probably would have skipped it. Probably would have skipped, because this isn't a film for me, right? This wasn't a film made for me, essentially, right? This is something for, I don't know, people that are fans of oh gosh, what are some of those films that we've looked at recently that were just like, oh no. um I mean, just think of any of these recent rom-coms, essentially. Like Musica, you know what I mean? What else? What have we had a look at? Gosh, I mean, there's been a few, hasn't there, to be honest with you? Marmalade, right? Irish Wish, just any of those ones, right? There was that, was it Puppy Love? You know what I mean? Puppy Love. Oi, oi. Maya Culpa. You know what I mean? Just any of these things. It's in it's in that kind of guys, right? Players, upgraded. You know, there's a few with was it oh god, which brings me to you, right? Any of those films, anyone that loved those films will probably like the idea of you. That's what I feel, right? I didn't like any of those films. Um, so yeah, I would have been like, this isn't for me. But hey, I watched it. I watched it. And look, yeah, if you like those films, right? If you like that certain type of rom-com, this, it ticks all the boxes, right? It's not terrible or anything like that. It's different strokes for different folks, really. You know, like the thing with this kind of film for me, because they just create scenarios that make no sense whatsoever, right? Like the idea of a 40-year-old dating a 24-year-old. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. Like, we've seen it so many times, right? There wasn't Kate Beckinsale dating Pete Davidson, you know? I mean, he was dating a lot of older women. Right? I feel Demi. What's her Demi Moore? I feel that's the name, right? I feel she was dating someone younger at one point. Right? It's just like whatever. I mean, look at fucking Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that the age difference in those relationships is more than 20 years, right? So we've seen it. We've seen it. Usually, it is usually the other way round, right? The man's older, the woman's younger. But there have been plenty of occasions with the woman being older. So we've seen those situations. It's like whatever, whatever, whatever. It's just this one. At Coachella, the film festival. They're at that film festival. And she wants to go to the toilet and she mistakes a trailer for a toilet. Now, no, the toilets are clearly marked at that kind of thing, and you wouldn't have had the trailers literally right. We were saying the trailers are right outside the VIP entrance. What kind of nonsense is that? Like, it makes no sense, right? She walks into the trailer, right, which she supposedly thinks is a toilet. First of all, it's not like there's all living shit in there. So straight away you'd think this isn't a toilet, right? But she walks into there, door's locked. So she knocks on the door. Firstly, that's mad rude. Right? It's not like you've been waiting outside for half an hour and you're like, is that person okay? Right? You literally just walked in and you're knocking on the door like, I'm here now, so you need to leave because I want to tinkle. Go fuck yourself. Right? Go fuck yourself. So she knocks on the door. And then the guys opens it and it's like she's standing right in front of the door. Why the fuck are you standing right in front of the motherfucking door? Give the person coming out some space so they can actually come out, right? It's just some bizarre shit. So that was just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Right? It's the meet and greet was just a little tame. Have you seen those things? Like I managed events, right? I did a lot of things back in the day. I've seen these kinds of events. They're not that tame, right? They're fucking crazy. So this was just like, come on now. And anything revolving little girls and boy bands and that kind of thing, they're just bananas. Those things are fucking bananas, right? Like we need to stop this pretense that girls are all like, oh, you know what I mean? They're like throwing themselves, fainting, screaming, so much screaming. Right, so like all of these little things that they're just so tame, right? Just the fact that her and Izzy and her friends are standing at the close to the front of the gig, and it's all like no one's pushing. People are pushing. It's just again carnage. So the kind of just the environments that they're creating don't feel real. Right, the interactions don't feel real, right? Just the way they're talking, it's just like, oh dear, right? This weird thing they do with British people in films. It's kind of bizarre, right? It's just like, oh, well, that's oh, well, what are we doing? I was looking for a sweater, and oh, my eyes seem to have. I can't stop looking at you. Oh my. Oh my gosh, what it's just like, shut the fuck up. No, no, stop it. Right? It's just this nonsense. And they're in this, this relationship, but it's like, oh, the paparazzi are here and all of this is like, look, the book was written in 2017. Like, this is in, the current environment. So there are so many examples of these kind of relationships. I mean, even if they were both supposedly famous, it would still be crazy, right? Any sort of relationship would have been crazy. So the fact that it's just like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be like this. What is happening? Shut up. It's just nonsense, right? The taking the photo, like, what's going to happen. Here's the thing, what's going to happen. So the fact that everyone's supposedly taken aback, because like, oh, we didn't understand. Oh, easy, poor, easy. I'm just like, oh, it's tiresome, tiresome. Right? We have these other weird situations like Daniel and Eva, right? I mean, they don't build up Eva at all. So we have no clue who the fuck she is really. So then there's some certain interactions that you're kind of scratching your head because it's just like, I just like, what? I mean, why would they have that conversation? Wait, what's happening here? It's all very odd. All very odd, right? So yeah, the film, and then I mean, there's this weird thing at the pool. Which is months in, remember? Months in. And it's just like, are you really trying to tell us that that would happen then? That would have happened so much earlier. So much earlier. Why would people wait to do a thing until that? You know what I mean? It's just kind of weird and crazy. In the end, we do a 5-year jump, but Solène hasn't aged. There's been no changes. There's gonna be changes because that's what happens when you get older, you know? And unless you're filthy rich and you can constantly get plastic surgery and all of these things, there's gonna be changes. They're not necessarily bad changes, but changes happen, right? And it's just the fact of that okay, so we're saying that life is this, right? It's just like, what? Like, huh? I just found it mad unsatisfying. Mad unsatisfying. And it just nothing felt real. None of the interactions, like just thinking, right? Izzy and Solène didn't really feel like mother and daughter. The friends don't feel like friends, right? Daniel and Eva don't really feel like a couple. Like, nothing feels natural and real. That's my feeling on this film. But again, as mentioned, it wasn't made for me. Wasn't made for me. And if you like any of the films I mentioned at the start, you'll dig it. You'll dig it, right? So the idea review is now available on Prime Video. Have at it, people.